everyone, welcome back to Great Sports Debates. Week 15, regular season almost over. Just when you think you got it all figured out, you got a week where you get a couple of curveballs. But we'll start at the basement because that's been the same most of the year. At 32, we got the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young looks bad. They can't move the ball on offense. This is clearly the worst team in the league. I feel confident in that. At 31, we got the New England Patriots. Zappy looked really good for, I don't know, the first 10 minutes of the game or so. And then New England, became itself. But that was enough for them to win a game between two bad teams that can't score. But it's still hard to have New England jump in front of anyone besides Carolina. At 30 is Washington. I don't remember if this is a bye or before they play. Either way, we always expect them to lose. They've lost a lot of games in a row, and they just don't look good. And they even lost twice to the Giants, who we have at 29. And they're really kind of in the same category. The Giants have a really bad offensive line. They played better as late, but I think, like the other teams at the bottom, they just have a really hard time manufacturing any type of offense at all. And for that, those teams are kind of the worst in the league. At 28 is Arizona. I know they only got 3 wins on the year, but I think they're definitely better with Kyler Murray than all the teams below them, and maybe a couple of the teams ahead of them. At 27 is Tennessee's, probably a team I've watched the least in the league, and they're just a hard team to watch. They usually have a gigantic line, so it winds up being in a void. They're a team that isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and kind of need work all the way around. Even the spots they're good in are typically spots that they're old. At 26 is the Bears. They came off another big win. I wanted to slide them up a little more, but that kind of just got them in the mix with the rest of these teams right here. Like I said last week, if they are willing to do a run pass, let Justin Fields run the ball type thing, their offense could be pretty good. And we saw that this week. How long he'll hold up or how much they'll do it remains to be determined. At 25 is the Jets. They really surprised me this week. I thought for sure Houston would cover that game, and the Jets beat them clearly. We were reminded how great their defense is. And, even once in a while, Zach Wilson can figure it out. And, maybe he's better than a few of the offenses in the league, but not many. And he does have a couple of weapons to get the ball to. At 24 is the Falcons. Sad to say, this is probably high for them. They get a lot of their wins playing in the weakest division, hands down, in the league. And they could actually wind up being a playoff team. At 23 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just won a key divisional game. That whole division's tied at the top. It's really anybody's division at this point. And all 3 of these teams could be lumped together, but I'm going to put New Orleans at 22. They're the team that I thought had the best chance to win the division at the beginning of the year. So we'll lean with them, but again, none of these 3 teams are really that good. At 21, we'll go with the Chargers. They had another below expectation performance. We expected Denver to win. We said to take them with the points or the money line, but I didn't really expect them to beat them up as bad as they did. And I thought the Chargers might score a little more than they did. But this team's clearly packing it in, and they don't really have anything to play for at this point. Justin Herbert got hurt. I don't know if it's going to make sense for them to put him back out at any point. We'll see. But, again, their season's over. At 20, Seattle, they've lost a lot of games in a row. Granted, they've played a pretty tough slate, and they compete, but it's just hard when they get behind. It's another team. They're playing with a backup quarterback, so not a lot of expectations for Seattle going forward. They might still currently be in the playoff mix, but they're definitely going in the wrong direction. At 19, we got the Raiders. They lost a close game. No one could really score the ball. I do like how they're playing under their new coach. And like I said, maybe they could elevate to bottom of the middle of the pack type team. At 18, the Colts reminded us they were the Colts. They got a good beating today. Again, they have a strong offensive line and a talented wide receiver, a good running back. But when they play the better teams, they seem to fold more often than not. At 17 is the Vikings. And honestly, they looked a lot better with Nick Mullins in. So maybe they can move up a little bit from here. We'll see. But, for everyone that's killing me a few weeks ago, what did I tell you about Josh Dobbs? He's back where I expected him to be, on the bench. 16's the Steelers. You really want them to move down a little bit further after back-to-back weeks of losing to 10-loss teams. But, some people blame that their starting quarterback was out, but it's not like he was doing a whole lot to begin with. The sad part is that as bad as half of the league is, you really can't move the Steelers any lower in this because they do have a top-flight defense. And you expect that they'll be able to run the ball and make the occasional play to score enough points to win most games. At 15, we got the Rams. They gave Baltimore everything they could handle. They were up most of that game. Baltimore was able to come back and then win the game in overtime. At 14 is the Green Bay Packers, and we're not really surging them up because I think they're great, but they have been a really hot team, and this is more of an indictment on the rest of the league than anything. Jordan Love's been playing better every week. The last few weeks he's looked really good. They can run the ball, and they're getting healthy on defense, so they kind of have all the pieces they need to make a run. We'll see how they finish up the season. At 13 is the Cleveland Browns. The Joe Flacco signing might be one of the most underrated in-season signings this year. Not that Flacco's great, but honestly, he's looked better than anyone they've had play quarterback so far. And that might just be enough with a team that has a decent wide receiver, a pretty good interior offensive line, a strong running game, and a really good defense. At 12 is the Houston Texans. Again, I said I was shocked that they lost to the Jets. But, this just goes to show no matter how good C.J. Stroud's been playing this year, he is still a rookie. And when you look back at some of the teams they played, it wasn't the toughest slate in the world. But I don't want to move Houston down too much from one game. At 11 is Jacksonville. This is 2 losses in a row now. They just aren't clicking right. They're not able to make stops on defense. And I still think that this is a team that's going to be in the playoffs and maybe win a game or so. But I don't expect them to beat any of our top tier teams. And kind of in that same breath, at number 10, we got the Detroit Lions. I'm really concerned about this team right now. We bet that they were going to win at least 10 games this year. Thank God they only have to win one more, so I'm hoping they can pull that off. But the way they are playing defense is not a good sign at all. Now, based on what Dan Campbell says, maybe they have some hard practices coming their way. Probably something he should have done a couple of weeks ago, because the defense has just been really bad for like 6 weeks in a row. They can't tackle. And if I could talk to that man directly, I'd ask him 2 questions. When are you going to move Penei Sewell to left tackle full time? And why isn't Jack Campbell playing middle linebacker and stick Anzalone somewhere else? Jack Campbell's clearly a middle linebacker, and he showed when Anzalone's out, he's a stud at that position. Let's get this guy we drafted in the first round in the position he's supposed to be playing in. At 9, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. This is another team, sad to say, that's proved us wrong. The Bengals have had a bad history and a bad record without Burrow previously, but they're doing pretty good with this guy Browning, and they've won a couple of games impressively. So we got them sitting at 9 right now, and maybe they should be even higher. Let's give it another week and see how they do. At 8 is another team that's red hot. It's the Denver Broncos. I'm going to just make up some number. I want to say that they've won like 5 of their last 6. Something like that. Everything's clicking. They're not asking Russell Wilson to do too much. They're a run-the-ball team. They play super physical. Wilson's picking things up with his legs. And then he's making the occasional passes on 3rd down. And that's exactly what we said this team should have been doing from the beginning. So I think they figured it out, and they look pretty good. At 7 is Buffalo. This is a team, we've been saying every week, even when they're 6-6, this is a team that can beat any team. Now, of those top-level type teams, they're the bottom because they make too many mistakes, they turn the ball over too much, and they're not consistent enough. At 6 is the Kansas City Chiefs. This is by far the lowest we've had them all year. At some point we can't just give them credit for what they've done in the past. They are struggling on offense, and they have too many wide receivers that make really bad mistakes every week, whether it's standing in the neutral zone, dropping passes, or running the wrong routes. It's really like below league level, like how their wide receiver play is. So I'm not sure why that hasn't been addressed yet. It's not looking good for the Chiefs win total. They do have a chance. They're going to have to run the table, and the schedule's pretty soft. But at this point, it's hard to believe that they're going to win, 4 games or whatever it is in a row. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Since there's still 6 teams that haven't played when I'm making this, I got to cheat a little bit. And I'm going to go number 5, the loser of the Philadelphia and Dallas game. I'm expecting that to be Dallas. I know Dallas is favored by 3.5. I chickened out on taking Philly at the money line, but I did take them plus 3.5. And I think they're the better team, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball. But either way, we're just going to leave this 5 spot as the loser of that game. At 4 is the Baltimore Ravens. They found a way to get it done. Didn't look that great, but they scored when it mattered, and they won the game. Their defense looks good. Of course, they have Lamar Jackson that has the run-throw option. They got the best weapons he's ever had, with a crew of young running backs, and then Odell at wide receiver, along with the young guy Flowers. So they have all the weapons, and they've shown, playing big on offense and big on defense all year. So maybe they should be higher than 4, but that's where I'm going to put them for right now. At 3 is Miami. I know a lot of people are going to say this is too high, but, I tell people all the time, defensive win championships is an old, outdated concept. The game and the rules are all slanted towards the offense, and Miami has the best offense in the league, and they got lots of speed, and you can't coach that. Tyreek Hill is amazing. Tua is having an MVP type year that we told a lot of people was going to happen, and with other options that are going to make it hard to double Hill and speed guys like Waddle, plus a couple of fast guys in the backfield, and they're getting this, they've got some time back with some of their defensive starters back. This team looks really good, and I'm excited to see what they do this weekend. Obviously, if they lose, they might, they're going to lose ground to Baltimore and, maybe somebody else. But we'll have them as solid number 3 right now. At 2 is the Philadelphia-Dallas winner. Again, like I said, going into this, I do think Philadelphia is going to win. They are 10-2, and they found ways to win pretty much every week. And then at the top of the list, as they've been for several weeks, is the San Francisco 49ers. And they gave another performance to kind of show that they are that loaded team. As long as Shanahan stays smart, and he's one of the top coaches, I'm sure he will, keep handing the ball to Christian McCaffrey to the left side. That's your bread and butter. Open it up with Brock Purdy when you need to. You got all the weapons with Debo, and Kittle, who's, they all block as well. Just a monster offense with playmakers at every level on the defense. This is going to be a tough team to stop. I think that they're going to win it all this year at this point. So that's our Week 15 power rankings. As always, there's a few that we mess up inevitably. Some key detail we might have missed. So let us know in the comments what those are. Who's too high, who's too low, and why. Like, share, and thanks for watching.